Tom, you got to get the gin and tonic in.
I'm not drinking. I'm training for a half marathon.
I'm
Right.
pretty sure the water says vodka on the side of it.
Hello and welcome to DIY EV Chat, the second episode in our new season, new format, where we have, well, the core four of me, Jamie, Stephen and Bob. Robert, are you Bob now? Are you officially Bob?
No, I just bored.
You are Bob now. And occasionally guests, and today we have Fiachra Cook on. Hello, Fiachra.
How are you doing, lads? And I've managed to leave off the A off the end of my name. And yeah, and for anyone who finds it difficult to pronounce, you put in a solid K when you're throwing it in there. So Fiachra, it doesn't matter. It gets anyone here, there, everywhere.
I don't know whether our names will pop up on screen. So when we put this out, but either way, welcome to the podcast.
It's good to be here.
Usual starting question around Robin of what's going on with your project this time around in the last month, because it's going to be roughly monthly. We've decided this podcast, and this week I'm going to start with. Let's start with you Fiachra, because you're moving again. You're doing stuff again.
Yeah,
slowly.
It's slowly, and that's the thing. You fly back to, what was it, 2020, when we were all in the midst of COVID and people were baking bread and we were doing other things. And the Audi 80, it was August 2020 when it started rolling. And then it was basically, then it was all good, day-to-day, like daily driver, but then it kind of went to bed a little bit.
Why?
BMS was my nemesis. I never got the BMS working. The Leaf, I kept blowing them up. I kept scouring eBay for, have you got another one? And I got like Johanna sent me one and a few other people sent me one. It just never got really there, and I used to use it a lot. But then things happened, it needed an extra bit of work, so stopped it. But anyway, went to bed for about 6 months. The last 6 months I started reviving it. Right, it's going to be a Gen 2. So we're going to upgrade it. We're going to go from 24 kilowatt hour to 50 kilowatt hour. So I managed to get...
Not with Leaf modules this time.
No, we're upgrading. We're going for...
That's a safe bet.
Yeah. I mean, with the Leaf modules, it was fairly, basic, fundamental stuff. But no, I've managed to get a Mokka E 50 kilowatt hour pack. It's over near Leeds. So... that is, my brother does the odd trip back and forth, so he's going to pick it up on the way back in a couple of weeks' time. And then the big Gen 2 the Tesla Model S charger, that's being dumped for the MG ZS charger and DC. And then we're going to put
Good choice.
Yeah, so it's well proven. I was going to try and stretch to the MG5, the one has the DC to AC, but I wasn't going to push the budget out that much. And
it might be worth noting that the battery emulator project has hacked the Mackie battery, so that's worth keeping an eye on. So
was that the Ford Mackie battery, or the...
Yes. So the Ford Mackie, they've managed to hack it apparently, from memory. And so it means you can just use the battery almost as is, so you don't have to worry about shunt and the rest of it. You just literally wire the whole thing up as is, as it were. So you don't have to worry about you take the whole
you
BMS.
Said Mokka, didn't you, Fiachra?
What's that?
Yours is a Mokka, not a Mackie.
Oh,
Mokka.
sorry, I misheard.
It's the Mokka. It's the PSA.
Mokka.
Yeah.
Oh, the PSE one's also been hacked by. That's definitely been hacked by the battery emulator project. So you can just take the BMS as is if you're happy with taking a 108S, and you can just literally run it without having to worry about trying to run some BMS or any of the complexities. You can just run the battery as
squeeze it
is.
In. Yeah, because I think
it's bigger hammer, dude. Bigger hammer.
Because the Leaf inverter's like, I don't want to go above 405. When you start chucking more out, so it might have to be 96S, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then there's the iBooster going in as well.
Nice.
Didn't Ben find that BMS was happy if you just dropped a module?
He managed to
and still ran it. at 96S?
I'm not sure. When I spoke to him before, he's having issues with it. So
Maybe not then.
maybe not.
What's your iBooster coming off? Are you getting one off a Zoe or a Toyota or?
I got one off Calvin up there in EV Breakers. He had one off an e-Golf, so it's a Gen 1. So he said, this should do you. So, see what happens.
Quick shout out to EV Breakers, by the way. I've bought 2 parts off them in the last couple of weeks, and they are good guys.
Very good.
Good prices, shipping quickly. They want to sponsor this, fantastic, but I've just had a really good experience with them the last couple of times.
There's the dollar sign right above Tom.
Even without money, I'm spending money with them, and they have fair play. They've got me good parts out quite quickly. Good prices as well. You know him, do you?
I've only dealt with him I've never met him face to face. I know he came down to visit this weekend, and I wasn't around to meet him. But he's Calvin. Nice. Anytime you're on the phone to him, he's brilliant. So I've bought stuff for work through him and a few bits and bobs, but not face to face yet.
Cool. Right, next project. Bob, you're up next.
Crap. I'm finally some stuff's arrived from China, so I've got a load of PCBs at the moment. So I've got I'm basically trying to install heating in the car, which is somewhat important at this time of year. So I've also ripped off Jamie's I don't know what we call it, the display module thing. So I've ripped it off and gone all nuts and put an RTC module on it because I'm getting fed up having to reset Zombie every time I have to disconnect the battery because it drains the battery flat. Because it draws like half an amp, so it only lasts like a day and a half before it goes flat. It kills my battery. So I've been flat out on that sort of stuff. So, but I'm still waiting for the other half of it to arrive because I'm too cheap to get it all populated from GLC PCB. So all the expensive modules, expensive chips arriving separately for me to solder on. So I'm soldering all the expensive ones on the what do you call it? The extended. All the extended chips are going to be soldered on by hand. All the cheap ones have got populated.
Are these designs up on GitHub or something somewhere?
They're currently on my EZDA at the moment. So, but yeah, I've just basically stolen Jamie's stuff. Jamie, cheer up! Monday is not that bad.
Stephen, what have you been up to?
I got the drive shaft and all of the related stuff installed into the car not long after the last pod. And
have you done another weld?
I haven't. It's been a bit crazy for me at the last couple of weeks with other stuff, so I haven't had a chance really to do much. I had a couple of hours free, so I managed to get the car back together. So it's movable now.
Nice.
Everything's tightened up, but I did find out that in my last escapade with things falling off the car, that there's bolts under the car that have literally been ripped out of the chassis rails. So it'll go. Well, hopefully it'll go kind of slowly, but I have to get it into my driveway properly, get it properly up on jack stands, so I can, I don't know, weld them in or do something. Because at the moment the bit that holds the half shaft for the center bearing for the prop shaft is being held on by the tiniest bit of metal. I only realized when I was bolting it back up, I was like, oh, that is not good.
A couple of riv nuts, you'll be fine.
Well, that's what I'm planning to do, but I'm going to have to figure that out. I also got new insurance for the car, so I renewed it this month, and I've got my MOT in 2 weeks' time, so I have a deadline now to actually get it.
Nice.
To get it finished.
In the aerospace industry, you call that sky hooks. It's just held on by the tiniest bit of thread.
Also known as a Bluetooth center bearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Jamie?
Not a lot on my car.
Just charging your battery up, haven't you?
Yeah, so I seem to have got some 12-volt issues as well, but mine's only lasting at best 6 hours. And
bloody hell.
yeah, So the other day I had to
beat me out.
I think it may be alarm related or something. So the other day I was out shopping and then came back to the car and it was completely dead. So luckily I'd bought a jump pack. So I connected the jump pack, started the car, started driving, and the alarm was just going off and I could not disable the alarm. So I was just driving home with the alarm screaming.
Based on my experience with the E39, it's something like pulling out fuse 26 completely disables the alarm, which is completely disturbing. I think it's 26.
Yeah, I will investigate at some point, but I've been busy on other people's projects. So like the Ferrari, we took the Ferrari out for some test driving, and we'd driven a good few miles, and then he suddenly says, "Running out of like the power's cutting out." I thought we got laptop out, and we had a look, and it said over temperature. So then I lift the back up, have a look under, and I just said to him, "Is your radiator getting good airflow?" And then he looked at me and said, "What radiator?" So yeah, it took an hour to do because to get back to his house was up a hill, and it was double white lines up the centre as well, and it was cutting out every couple of meters. So it was painful. So finally managed to.
He's now bringing you in to install a radiator.
Well, I've given him the one that I had on the Beetle, and told him to buy a Bosch PCE pump. And so what he's done, he's gone on holiday to Ibiza.
Well, if he can afford to convert a Ferrari.
And then I popped round to the fella converting his VW pickup, the Caddy, to play around with his BMS. And for somehow his wiring loom had lost CAN low. It just wasn't connected to anything. So I've left that in his hands to diagnose. You can find out where that's broken.
Jamie, the mobile EV conversion doctor.
I don't know how this has happened.
Right? You should get a van.
You say that?
That's tax deductible.
There is an EV converted ambulance on eBay at the minute.
That's what's his face who was on my on this podcast before. I've forgotten his name now. Down on the south coast, I think, works in marine. He did an EV swapped ambulance.
Oh, what, a camper conversion ambulance? Oh, right. That is on eBay for $7,000 at the minute.
Oh, we might have to post a link to that in the show notes.
The word
I even said might have to buy that.
Makes my skin crawl.
No, $7,000 I do not have to spend on an EV swapped ambulance. I might need it in a week after and a half.
Spend on? Tell us all.
Pardon?
Tell us what you are spending your thousands on. AKA paint job.
I'm mostly worried about earning the thousands rather than spending them. I have bought. What have I bought? I've been buying lots of cheap Chinese Android Auto displays. I say lots. I bought 2, which I'm trying to access the flash chip on so that I can change the boot image, and having absolutely no luck whatsoever. Although someone has just given me an alternative route to that, so
it's called a hammer.
It's not a hammer.
Every time, Rob, the answer is a hammer. It's not all.
It's very tempting.
Do you have a better suggestion? Fluffy hammer?
No, I don't.
Right, moving on. Fiachra, tell us about the Dublin Maker conference and the OI stand there.
Oh yeah. It was phenomenal. I mean, Mark, who's on the Open Inverter forum, he kind of reached out to Johannes and said, like, we're doing this Dublin Maker. Dublin Maker is kind of like a STEM kind of. It's a big sort of show that goes on every year in Dublin, and STEM and creativity and all that. And there's a lot of engineering and all that type of stuff. So. Reached out to Johannes, said we want to put up a stand there, there's a few DIY EVers over here, so got together. So myself and Mark, obviously, and you had Badri who was there. He's converted a Hayabusa. It's just Gen 1 Hayabusa, I think it is. And he's put a couple of the same modules that I'm going to have in my yoke. He's put 2 of them in there. And then you also had Mark's, it's a RF 1000, I think it's Suzuki. But he's put in leaf pack in that. A couple of modules from a leaf pack. He's been riding that for the last few years. Like back and forth to work. It's amazing. And he had it there, so the kids would be jumping on, giving it a rev because it was up on a paddock stand and all that. That was brilliant. Then we had Christian, who was there with his Mustang. So that's in the early. It's kind of one of those things like, there's one of those rules when you're doing an EV conversion is make sure you get a car that has as little to do as possible. Tom, you might know a bit about this, but so
me too.
Get one that's like pretty well finished. But Christian's is like a Mustang, need a lot of work, but he's on the return leg now, and he's got the GS450H, I think, motor in there, and a few other bits and pieces. So he's tipping along as well. But the reaction was phenomenal. It was a pretty awful day, windy, rainy and all that, but the crowds turned up, and my car was parked out the front again, sort of halfway build, but it was amazing. Like, people would be looking in going, oh, is that still the engine? And I go, no, it's the electric motor. And I go, oh my god. And I had two Eastern European guys coming up, and like, obviously big Audis are big over like, Germany, moving east, and they were like, what have you done? I was like, what? So I debate with those about what could have happened to it. I said it could have went to the scrapper. I've given it a second life, but all that. But it was a real eye-opener. And so hopefully a load more sort of people logged on to OI and got into it and all that. But there was definitely a lot of people going like, how much? Because I told them I did mine for $6,000 all in. Now, granted, that's not including the time, and COVID was a great time to be doing it. But it was really, really good. And we also had alongside us DCU, is one of the main colleges over here. They had their solar vehicle project as well, which they're going to, I think it's next year the competition is on. It could be in the Netherlands. So they had theirs set up as well. And it was great. I think from the reaction from the organisers, they said we got some of the biggest crowds passing by us anyway.
Brilliant. That's super cool. I mean, it would be nice to see more people doing it.
Yeah.
If we could get some sponsorship to ship us all over.
Yeah.
All over to Dublin.
How many
they want
charge
us back
stop?
for sure.
I could fancy a road trip.
Yeah.
I mean, my current car wouldn't make it, but the PT might.
It's called a really big trailer, Tom.
Big trailer.
A really big trailer.
Have we put my car on the back of that as well? So it's like
They're
1,
gonna
2, 3.
The one thing is, they're going to want to see more vehicles that work. So there's one kid, this kid came up to me. He was only about 6 or 7. And he came up and he was like, oh, like, how fast does it go? How long does it go? How fast does it charge? I was like, what? Little pup, go on, off you go. But he kept coming back, asking more and more questions. At the very end, the organisers are cleaning up, going, go on, everyone out. He came up to me again. He goes, when are you going to have it finished? And I went, I'm going to finish it over the winter. And he just turned around to me and went, good luck. And off he went. This little
I've already concluded that I got enough projects to last me for the rest of my life. So I'm sorted with my project.
Yeah, I keep starting new ones. Much better than finishing anything. Right, next topic, which was I took this off the agenda, but I've put it back on again because we're not sure about this. But so it's more of a question than an answer. But the DVLA rules around what you can change the CO2 class or CO2 reading, or change the class of anyway. Can you re-register stuff basically as electric? And is there a possible loophole for imported cars? Because you were saying, Jamie, that the ones you've seen don't have an M1 classification.
Yeah, so I looked up some, when you can go on the website for DVLA to look at the V5. Picked a few off eBay for Japanese imports, and it said type approval none, which sort of makes me think, and they didn't have a CO2 rating. So it makes you sort of think, if you get one of those, they will update the fuel type.
Or JDM cars will always have would never pass a EU type approval anyway because they're based on different fuel types. Because Japan, Tom looks like he's dying.
Well, I'm just looking to see if I can find my the V5 for my Japanese import.
Yours is pre that anyway.
Here we go. Live research.
The only snag is the fact that yours isn't a 2001 plus. Is downside.
No, that's true. It is
so anything
1997.
pre 2000 or pre 2001 in the UK has no type approval anyway. So that's basically how we get through the loophole at the moment. The fact that anything before 2001 has no type approval, so we don't. That's why they let us change the CO2. Change fuel type.
So I've got no CO2 marking on there, but it's just as private lights. It said PLG, private light goods.
Yeah. Let me have a look. Oh, I've got my collection of V5s here. To be fair, the average age of my vehicles is 29 years, so I'm doing quite well. I'm obviously the ultimate skinflint.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're probably leaving this open, depending on what Rob comes back with now, but. There may be an interesting loophole there for Japanese import cars.
But again, it would only be interesting for Japanese cars post 2001.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although,
it's still kind of the Wild West. Ireland is still kind of the Wild West a bit.
Really?
It's. I mean, and I've mentioned before. I've dealt with the two extremes. So Ireland being engineering cert, you go down and you see the people in the local registration office scratch their heads a bit. Takes them a couple of weeks to figure out why a main dealer won't stamp it's called an RF111 form, why they won't. And you go, well, there's a piece of leaf kit in an Audi. So then I had to go send a letter to head of Audi and go, can you write me a letter to say you're not going to certify this, it's for a third party independent engineer, which they did, which is amazing.
Wow.
But I've also dealt with Swiss law recently. When I say recently, last 15 months, and that is just, it's the top. I mean, you need OR10, which is EMC, electromagnetic, OR100, which is your electrical safety. Then you've got your MFK, which is like your MOT, but it's just painful. But I mean, there's so few being converted over in Switzerland at the moment. There's no surprise really.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine
Yeah.
why. And same over here, it's. I imagine that a lot of people have just given up, and I know for a fact a lot of people have just given up because it's so difficult to get it.
You can buy a Leaf for a couple of grand now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's
it
the
is
same
and it
in-
isn't. There are a lot of cars around that are pre 2001 that make very practical, cars for whatever you want to do that you can convert and get re-registered.
They will have rust.
Yeah, but the 2001.
Not all of them.
Sponsorship.
Not all of them. Not my current one. Not my current project.
You haven't looked under the bonnet yet, Tom.
I wait till you see the next video. It's yeah.
I think we have to put triple X rating on it.
There may be some flesh. Right, moving on swiftly. Last topic on our news in inverted commas section. Battery prices seem to have hit absolute rock bottom. I've asked everybody to find an example of an incredibly cheap EV battery, second-hand EV battery. Jamie, I'm coming to you first. What have you got there? So this is a Renault Kangoo pack. So what size is that?
It's the one that I've got in the BMW, so it's a 36 kilowatt hour, so about 34 usable, the BMS gives, and it's £618.
That's like I can't even do the mental arithmetic. Yeah, 20.
I paid 1,600 for mine.
You made how much?
I think 1,600. I think was it, Steve?
Something like that's what you paid what I paid, but I think it was around that. Yeah, so that's what
Something
I paid.
like that.
For my one as well.
It looks. I mean, the size of it, you could possibly use that as is in certain vehicles. It's not massive.
Yeah.
So it's that one's the entry I'm bringing to the competition. I don't know what the prize is.
Steve, what do you got?
I've got a Hyundai Ioniq EV 38.3 kilowatt hour pack for £750. which
That
is
is
just crazy to me.
bonkers. How big are those?
It's a weird shape. It's kind of like it goes down the transmission tunnel, kind of the same as the Mach-E kind of battery shape. It's got a big hump at the back where the fuel tank would be on the petrol version. So I'm assuming it's made up of lots of smaller modules that are kind of shoehorned in. So in terms of using it in a conversion, same with the Stellantis packs, it'd be really good because you can kind of reorient them whichever way you need.
Oh, talking of flesh, Bob's
newer,
running away.
Newer ones are going into longer, narrower, like the Model 3 kind of style.
Yeah.
And the blade batteries from BYD are kind of long and narrow, which make them much more difficult to fit into to retrofit into a car. So you get these ones while they're hot, I think.
Bob, what have you got there?
I haven't got anything, unfortunately. I've been distracted with house stuff, so
He's not done his homework.
Stephen knows my pain.
You're all four on me today. So,
Pardon?
I'm mildly optimistic on the current.
Wait. We need to go back to Stephen. What pooed on you?
My wall fell on me. It was.
Oh, I thought you said a horse pooed on you.
Yeah, wasn't that? Was not.
Why didn't we start with this?
Yeah,
That's because
some fancy decorating, well, it wasn't. I was boarding up a door, and I was taking the. There's a door that isn't going to be used, so I was taking the door frame off.
Yeah.
And that kind of disrupted the plaster all around it, and all of the plaster on the wall, like the entire thing, came off. It was like a ton of plaster that had just been plastered. So I paid someone to plaster this wall. They plastered over the old bad plaster, which then just all came down on top of me.
No.
So
Deep
wasn't super happy.
I hope you're going to get them back in to do it properly.
I am never speaking to those people again.
Fair. So just back on batteries. I mean, I've got a couple more here. Did you get one, Fiachra? Did you find a battery?
Well, that's the thing. I'm going with the one I got, which is like that guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you look and they range between $5,500, $6,000 down to, that was 12, and I got them down to $1,000.
I got exactly the same one for 1,100. I got from a Mach-E, same one for 1,100.
I mean, I've got two more here. I've got a Mazda MX-30 battery for £775 or best offer. You're going to get that for £650 probably. I've got an MG8S battery. It's only 25 kilowatt hours, but loads for lots of projects. £780 or best offer. They're just so cheap now.
The PSA batteries particularly are just completely bonkers, aren't they? What you get for the money. Even if you don't want to use it in a car, it's worth it for solar storage.
I mean, 5 years ago when we all did our projects, £100 per kilowatt hour was pretty decent.
Now
I paid 700 for an 8.8.
I mean, you're talking like £20 per kilowatt, £20 per kilowatt hour, £30 per kilowatt hour, less sometimes. It's incredible. It's certainly, and maybe this is one of the things that reawakens people's interest, because the cost of doing a conversion now, not just a conversion that you can drive around, but a conversion that you can go hundreds of miles in, is really low. Really low. It's insane.
I think the Leaf pack.
I reckon you got 150 miles easy out of that pack in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at mini packs, which I've seen 34 kilowatt hours. I've seen those, basically BMW modules. I've seen those under £1,000. It's and they have a range of about 130 miles.
Yeah.
There's so many packs now you can choose from that cost virtually nothing.
Yeah. The only slight concern is what you were saying about the blade batteries and the long thin modules. Like, the form factors are going to be our biggest challenge in a few years, rather than the price, I think.
Well, interestingly though, the on the flip side of that, the news. If you listen to the news, I was listening to 5 Live today, and they're talking about the fact that the demand for EVs has gone down. So actually, a lot of the companies are now continuing the development of their crossover-y style cars, where you have the like the PSA group, where you've got the battery, you can replace it with an electric motor. So actually, maybe we've got a couple more years left of these kind of modular style battery packs.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I always thought
right.
that the how can anyone hear any weird noise?
Yeah, it's Jamie typing.
Oh, sorry.
Work is tomorrow, Jamie, not today. Sunday. I always thought that the basically the Chevrolet Bolt and is it the Bolt or the Volt? I can never remember. But that was always the ultimate of the crossover car, and it never really hit home. And the problem is that ironically, a car that can do sort of 40 miles for town driving is the icon of perfect for most people, where you literally have a car you can plug in every night, and you don't use any fuel, and then occasionally you're gonna want to go on a road trip, and you got that petrol car, and it's just that's always been the gold icon for sort of an OEM. I don't know, call it plug-in sort of thing.
But things like Ford Cougar, I think there's a plug-in version of the Cougar, and I remember it was like unlikely people like my dad's golf mates talking about that. They just use electric 90% of the time,
Right.
and occasionally just run the petrol engine when they need to go a bit further.
One more thing on the battery.
Hybrid batteries for lots of power, lots of juice delivery.
Yeah. So there's a cheap smart battery on eBay at the minute, and I don't know if people to be aware that some of those have like a scrapyard mode where it self-discharges and becomes useless. So if you do buy one of those, do be aware.
Trying to resurrect one of those recently, and we eventually gave up. Well, it's not worth it.
So yeah, be aware of the smart batteries.
Public service announcement: don't buy smart batteries.
Yeah.
I still got a thing for the Passat. I don't know what it is about Passat Estate. I just love that thing. Gigantic estate car. I think it's just being middle aged. But the GTE is always would be my ultimate car at the moment for like.
See, this is the thing when MG came out with the Estate, they said it's the first electric estate. It was like no, hang on, no. And then I put a picture of mine up. No, mine was the first electric estate.
Right, moving on. We unexpectedly got quite a lot of audience questions after the last episode. So we're going to try and answer some of those briefly. Or it's quite a broad one, which is just a discussion of how to build a battery box, which I think we've all suffered, struggled, wrestled with this pain at some point. But I think there are, a variety of approaches to this. Has anybody got a good approach to building a battery box?
Get someone else to do it.
Yeah, get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
My approach would be, in hindsight, is basically get a load of angle section, get a sheet of plywood, and then basically weld the frame together like that. So you basically got a rectangular section, which you then screw to the wood, so it doesn't distort when you weld it. And then you do obviously the top and the bottom, and then you just weld the four legs on. That'd be the way I'd probably do it now in hindsight. But it's not the most space efficient way of doing it, but it has the advantage of being cheap.
That's the way I did that. Yeah.
I know people who would disagree and say, bend something up out of thinner steel to get you lots of weight savings.
Yeah, I've already got the sheet metal bend thing. It's sort of, it's how far in do you go for this? It's like it's just a one-off car, so it's sort of like cheap as king.
My approach, the best box I've built, which I actually haven't used in the car, was riveted together, and it was super, super strong. And like Rob said to me when I was making it, I was a bit unsure about using rivets, and you said, well, airplanes are made with rivets. So, I was a little bit, more assured of myself, but it was it's really, really good. And if you were able to get, most of the bends done with a braking press or whatever, and then just rivet together the other bits, I think that's a really, really,
Alibro on the forum
easy way of doing it. You don't have to
had a really good. sorry, I apologise. Aliver on the forum had a really good method in one of his videos. You basically take 2 sections of angle iron, put it in the workmate, and then you take a sheet of wood and you just bang it, and it literally bends the sheet over. That worked really well for the first couple of iterations of my pain of trying to make a battery box. But the whole thing is, it's not.
Composite. I kind of went the composite method. I used the angle iron, like you were saying, Bob, to create the frame. And then I went down to the local store and said, "Give me the best bonding goo you have." And then gooed the aluminium sheet into each of the corners. And like Stephen, like the riveting, it was absolutely solid. It created, but I wouldn't do it again. But it was good for first iteration.
Why wouldn't you do it again?
It kind of the angle art. It made it look a bit, agricultural. I think I want to take it up a level.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's
yeah. Well, I mean, on the note of taking it up a level, Jamie saw some very low quotes for what was it, laser cutting and bending?
No, so him with the VW Caddy, he drew up his box design in whatever it was, and bought a sheet of aluminium, took that to a local place, and had them laser cut the shape and bend it up, sort of like cut all the holes for his connectors and vents and various bits and bobs, and it was 120 quid for the laser cutting and bending.
I will say, Jamie still hates me to this day for suggesting making a fiberglass battery box with the Beetle. He still hates resin.
And fiberglass. I hate fiberglass.
The irony is fiberglass is really good for this sort of stuff, but it's fucking horrible stuff because it sticks to everything.
See, I don't mind working with fiberglass at all, but I mean, I think I'm going to. My last battery box, I designed it, got it cut and bent up by the local steel fabricators, and then welded it together myself. And obviously, it's the welding bit where it went wrong. It looked really pretty till I started welding. But
what kind of cost was that, Tom? What kind of cost was that compared to Jamie's 120 quid?
It wasn't mine.
I think I just for the steel cut and bent, I paid about 80 quid, something like that.
Yeah. The problem
but it had none of the cutouts for connectors or anything like that. It wasn't anywhere near that sophisticated.
On one of my first battery box designs, I got this was just after COVID, so I got absolutely lunacy prices for just literally a rectangular box. So it's down to who you can find at what time. So because I remember it's I can't remember if it's 450 or 600 quid was the cheapest quote I got for a rectangular box. At which point I was like, you have to beep me out a lot on this for Tom.
No, you can it's fine.
At which point it is like, nah, I'll just have a go myself. Keep trying till I fail.
I mean, I built my first one out of a dead washing machine, so it's there are many approaches. Just finishing up on battery boxes. Apart from just actually making one, like vents and connectors and stuff. Like you reuse stuff that came with the OEM box, or
as much as possible.
I've seen a lot of connectors that aren't that expensive to actually buy. Then I mean, I know crimping might be a bit of it, but yeah, I try and reuse as much as I can. But I've seen recently prices aren't crazy.
I've seen basically a VW loom, which has basically got the same connector that me and Jamie have used came off the GT packs. And it's talking 70 quid for the cable. I can't even buy the cable for 70 quid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a CCS and it's off a Hyundai Kona or something. And both of these plugs go into the junction box, which is separate to the inverter and everything else. And I've just got what I hope is a very good deal on the junction box, which has got the 2 connectors on and possibly some other goodies inside as well. I'll be doing a teardown video on that when that arrives. I was hoping it had arrived by now, but at some point in the next few days that's going to arrive, and that might actually be a good source of connectors, possibly contactors. I don't know what's going to be in there.
To be fair, if it just contains the connectors, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's a good deal even with just the connectors.
Because that's the bit that costs you lots of money when you do a project. It's these little connectors is like, oh, 30 quid here and there. That just adds up over the whole project.
Yeah.
So many of us have had the experience of that. It's like, oh yeah, only 30 quid here, only 30 quid there. It's like, and then you're like 500 quid down, and you're like, oh, why did I do this?
Definitely one thing to reuse from the OEM packs is the vents.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd agree with that. Someone who now works in the professional conversions, Fiachra, but
Yeah, I mean, you basically the ones that anything we do, like in the day to day, is all bought from OE Tier 1 and all that. But you look at it and you look what's come off a pack you can get out of a scrapper. It's the same thing. They're not damaged then, for a DIY they're fine.
I did buy a load of vents on mine for literally next to nothing. I brought like 4 vents for sort of, it wasn't a huge amount of money to even buy them. I had to buy it from Alibaba, not AliExpress, which was a bit annoying. But I still brought 4 vents that was the same as the ones on the car for not that much. So it's not a complete dead end if you can't salvage them, as long as you're willing to spend 50 quid to buy 4.
Yeah.
Last thing on battery boxes. Mounting it. Have you hard mounted yours, or you shock mounted them? Like, what do you do? How do you mount your battery boxes?
Mine are hard mounted.
Mine,
I mean,
I wish
normally
mine was
hard
hard-mounted.
mounted on the OEM cars, right?
Yeah. I mean, even just from our experience on doing what we do in day to day, the battery box is hard mounted. Anything else that moves, as in motor gearboxes, through AVs. But now batteries are hard mounted.
Yeah, mine's definitely hard mounted. It just picks up on the holes that are existing in the chassis rail for random reasons that nobody outside Japan knows.
Cool. Right. So hopefully that's answered some people's questions. It's the first time we've done that, so maybe we'll do it better in future. I don't know, but I think it's interesting because it is one of those bits of the build. It's probably the biggest bit of fabrication apart from like actually mounting the motor. Probably even then, it's probably still the biggest bit of fabrication, isn't it?
I think it's...
Yeah, the battery box takes the longest time, I think.
Me and Stephen have been in battery box hell, as the politest way of putting it is, where you literally go around trying to get something to fit.
That's because I keep buying different batteries. That's the problem. I should just make up my damn mind, and that would really.
Well, I kind of did the halfway house with the Leaf, because remember, I don't know if you saw in mine, I chopped the back end. It sits underneath passengers, the back. Chopped that off, so I kept those 24 modules in that, and then just sort of finished off the front, covered it up. It wasn't great, a lot of goo to keep it kind of sealed. I wouldn't recommend it, but it worked, and it fitted exactly where the petrol tank used to be on the Audi, so it worked.
Yeah, if you can reuse that space. It's really awkward on the Z3, unfortunately, but
it's awkward on mine. I could, if I was able to drill out the spot welds where the fuel tank bubble fits, sort of thing, I fit an entire sort of 8 modules. But if I try and fit them in the space where it is existing, you can only fit 4 modules in. And I still have had a response in DVLA on whether if I'm allowed to drill out the spot welds or not, whether that counts as a structural modification, which is...
I imagine it does.
Yeah. It's, even though it contains no structural thing, but yeah.
Right, final thing, because we're running a little bit over. Videos we've seen this week, and I want to be slightly cautious with the one that I've posted here. I'll post this in the show notes, because this video has been doing the rounds. I saw it on Instagram and I've seen it on YouTube. And it's someone in the US who has who's EV swapped an MG. It's not a midget. What is it? It's an MG something.
MGB.
MGB. A little old MG anyway. And it looks very nice at about 20 feet. And then as he's doing his tour, you realise that the high voltage cables, there's no shroud on them at all, run straight through the cabin, past the legs of the driver and the passenger. And that somewhat terrified me. And I just, that and the fact that it was running a Hyper 9, which I don't really understand why anyone builds an
Yeah,
does an EV
I'm
swap
looking
with
at the
Hyper 9
exposed
now.
terminals now, thinking I thought that my conversion was was pretty rough and ready, but bloody hell.
It's just like,
Yeah.
would you get in a car that has bright orange cables running through your legs? It's
No,
terrifying. It's the sort of thing that I suspect gives the professional conversion industry conniptions about the DIYers, doing something horrible and stupid, and that makes the whole industry look bad.
But
And it gives me
whatever about that. It's us DIYers are going, that's giving us a bad name. What are
Yeah.
you doing that for? It's blow someone up.
Yeah, and also again, I don't want to knock anyone who's done a conversion with a Hyper 9 or the people behind them, but I don't get that. Like, given the absolute massive array of options of motors out there now, at a fraction of the price and offering way more capability, I don't understand why you go down that route now.
I think it's just YouTube advertising, isn't it? It's just the Hyper 9. Even when I got my the car where I got my MOT done, one of the chaps there was trying to convert a Beetle, and he was doing it on the Hyper 9. And I think it's just they've got in with the advertising, so it's sort of common sense goes out the window.
I mean, I sort of get it might be the easy route because you're buying a package that's got some some support behind it. Albeit, if you watch pretty episode passing of this podcast, you'll know that that support isn't always incredible, or certainly hasn't been in the past. I think it was Danny with his what's he got? So his
Jimny.
Suzuki 4x4.
Oh, the
Yeah.
chimney.
Jimny.
Didn't have a great time with the Hyper 9 or similar.
Yeah, but if you're able to offer something that looks like a package that's going to be easy, like the open inverter community hasn't done that, despite all of the innovation that's happened. There isn't one product that you can say, oh yes, I can buy all of the adapters and all of the connectors and all of the whatever. Like, if somebody were to just put that all together and sell it as a kit and offer a warranty,
But that's the trick, isn't it?
Well,
It's number one, it's the warranty, and it's number two, what happens if that person goes off and does something stupid.
You're uninsurable is the problem.
Yeah, like is the level of difficulty and knowledge required actually a useful barrier to entry?
yeah, but I wonder how Hyper 9 do it then, because
Yeah.
you're selling a thing to someone, and if they go and blow themselves up,
Yeah,
I assume it's their problem, right? They went into it with their eyes open, kind of thing.
yeah.
I don't know.
Around a long time. They've
I have
built
no
up critical
intention of
mass.
selling kits for that exact reason.
There is a legacy with Hyper 9, though, isn't there? Because they did the Warp 9, which is obviously, if you watch some of the crazy stuff that is done in the past, you got the White Zombie and stuff like that, where it's just, Christ, 15 years ago, 20 years ago now, where you're basically wiring a forklift motor to set up 12-volt battery and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. I think it was like, I understand why people do it. I can see buying a package and the trust of that. But if you're doing this as a real DIYer, I just feel like there's so many cheaper, better options out there now. Like,
And it's
just
kind of going
offer
back to
a very
those
empty-
rules as well. I mean, I remember Damien talking about it right in the early days. He goes, don't reinvent the wheel, but it's like you want to lean on these manufacturers, OEs, who spend billions in R&D creating this piece of kit, which we've happily reverse engineered. Just keep doing that. Keep it simple. Reuse that. I
think the Leaf Stack is probably the most usable thing you can buy on the market at the moment, even though most of us have got Outlander stuff.
Not for long. Soon to be Lexus. Right, that is a good place to wrap it up. We've been yammering for over 50 minutes now. So I will say thank you to Fiachra for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Regulars, thank you to you for listening and watching. We hope that's been interesting. Please do get more questions in. We've got a bit of a backlog already, but more questions is good. Send us your videos that you've seen and that we ought to discuss. Any interesting wiring options, terrifying things, but also super cool projects. There is actually, well, we didn't do actually today, but there is a super cool project on the OI forums that we'll talk about next time around. At least one. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a deep dive in some of the new cool projects. And any news you think is newsworthy for the podcast. We'll be back again in about a month's time from this episode. And that's that. Catch you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.